The Vietnam War was far from just another chapter in America's military history. While the U.S. soldiers had faced structured battlegrounds of Europe, Vietnam was a puzzle. Soldiers were dropped into the heart of Vietnam, a place so wild and different it might as well be another planet. First up, the terrain. Rolling hills, thick forests, murky swamps. Every step was a surprise. Now, the American Marines, they were warriors, yes, but tourists in this strange land. Enter the locals and the South Vietnamese soldiers. They became the Marines' GPS, guiding them through the labyrinth of Vietnam's countryside. But even these local guides had limits. Deep within those forests, places so ominous, even the bravest local guides would refuse to tread. Why? Because of the legends. Murmurs of the jungle spoke of the dreaded Ma, or phantom entities. The Montagnard tribe told haunting stories of reanimated corpses craving blood. While these tales sent chills down the spine of many soldiers, the U.S. commanders simply dismissed them as local myths. But by 1965, tales turned into testimonies. Marines reported eerie sightings, ghostly apparitions with jet-black eyes and menacing fangs lurking in the jungle. Some of their buddies even vanished without a trace. There was chatter about a soldier who was miraculously rescued from a creature seemingly immune to bullets. Now, skeptics will say these are just results of high stress, perhaps a dash of hallucination. But put yourself in the shoes of a young Marine, surrounded by an alien landscape. Hear enough of these stories, and, well, you might just start to believe them, wouldn't you? Now gather round, because here's a tale that's as eerie as they come. One dark night in August 1969, Earl Morrison and his mates from the 1st U.S. Marine Division were on high alert. The surroundings were silent, almost eerily so. Suddenly, an odd shape disturbed the stillness. At first, it seemed as a giant silhouette with bat wings, but as it approached, they realized it was even more bizarre. A glowing, black-bodied woman soaring in the sky. She hovered merely 10 feet away before vanishing towards their camp. Morrison, seeking answers, consulted the locals, who spoke of legends, fearsome winged creatures known to whisk people away. Now, this wasn't just a story from an overworked, stressed soldier. This was a battle-hardened Marine. So, was it just a myth or a revelation of an undiscovered species? Theories swirl, even suggesting that such mysteries might explain the U.S. military's extensive use of Agent Orange and napalm. Did they aim to clear the woods or to unveil hidden threats? Whatever it was, the jungles held secrets deeper and darker than anyone could fathom. But the mysteries of Vietnam weren't confined solely to the forests. High above, in the vast expanse of the sky, another enigma was unfolding. Flight 739, on its course between Guam and the Philippines, vanished without a trace on March 16, 1962. With no wreckage, no distress signals, and no communication from its crew, this disappearance became one of the most perplexing aviation mysteries of the time. But how does this airborne enigma connect with the muddy trenches and dense forests of Vietnam? The answer lies in the speculation that arose in the aftermath of its disappearance. Families of the victims claimed that the passengers weren't just ordinary civilians. They were soldiers, deployed for the Vietnam War. However, official records contradict this claim, leading to a whirlwind of controversies and conspiracy theories. Was it a cover-up, or were the families clutching at straws, trying to make sense of an unexplainable tragedy? Documents, some heavily redacted, hinted at the plane's destination, Saigon. It was even claimed that 93 passengers aboard were highly trained Army Rangers. Yet, without concrete evidence and amid silent authorities, the truth remains a mystery. While Flight 739 remains a puzzle in the skies, back on American soil, another story was taking shape, one that would dominate political debates for decades. Enter George W. Bush's military service. The very fabric of his commitment during the Vietnam War era was called into question, particularly during his heated election campaigns in 2000 and 2004. Let's break this down. There's confusion about when and where Bush served. Some papers show he worked at Ellington Air Force Base in 1973, but a medical report from the same time says he didn't. Plus, it seemed like he wasn't always there when he was supposed to be at the Texas base. Why did he want to move to another base? And why was he allowed to move after first being told not to? There were also mixed reports of how good of a pilot he was. Then there's the glaring question mark about a missing year, where no one is sure what Bush was doing. And there are pictures of him as a famous person instead of a soldier. Did he get special treatment to avoid the hardest parts of the war? From unanswered questions swirling around George W. Bush's military service, we dive deeper into another captivating mystery of the skies. If you thought Flight 739 was intriguing, wait until you hear about the missing crew of Baron 52. This crew's disappearance seems even more tragic and mysterious given it occurred just after the Paris Peace Accords were signed. On February 5, 1973, as the world was coming to terms with the end of the Vietnam War, the United States Air Force EC-17 was shot down over Laos. With 8 crew members on board, only half were found. What makes this incident so puzzling? The plane was monitoring the Ho Chi Minh Trail even after the war had supposedly ended. Here's where things get intriguing. Evidence suggests the missing crew might have made it out alive. Seats were found unbuckled, with no signs of them near the wreckage. A whisper of hope? An intercepted message that morning hinted at the capture of 4 U.S. airmen. Yet the U.S. was quick to dismiss this, labeling them as casualties. But imagine the possibility that they were seized, potentially providing invaluable intel to the Soviets. Now, just as the U.S. soldiers were spooked by the ghostly tales of Vietnam, they also tried to use the local ghost stories to their advantage. This led to one of the most chilling psychological tricks of the Vietnam War: Operation Wandering Soul. In Vietnam, there was a strong belief that the souls of the unburied wander in anguish. They can be reached on the death anniversary at their demise spot. So what if the U.S. could turn this belief against the enemy? Enter Ghost Tape Number 10. Crafted by top engineers, this haunting tape carried the voice of a tormented Vietnamese spirit, pleading with his comrades to surrender. Imagine being in the thick jungle and hearing ghostly wails and cries from unseen speakers asking you to give up. Eerie, right? This tape wasn't just played from U.S. bases. Some soldiers even had it blasting from portable speakers, though this made them easy marks. But did this ghostly tactic work? Some say Viet Cong camps surrendered or fled in terror. Others argue that it just gave away U.S. positions.